Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
Hello, you're listening to the podcast, So There I Was.
You are?
You're giving me hand and arm signals.
I'm giving him hand and arm signals. I'm trying to tell him this is show 220.
Oh my gosh,
220 episodes.
220. How in the hell did that happen? Well, this week on So There I Was, we got 3 stories to cover. Yeah. A full range of aviation life, from Harrier sundown memories in North Carolina to an Army helicopter tale that takes a sharp turn, right?
Yeah, from Candyman.
A listener submitted. Yes, thank you, Candyman. From what, episode 44?
44, I think it was, yeah, which was I was 10 feet off the ground at 120 knots and I was bored. So, yeah, that was Candyman's first appearance with us, and he sends in a little short story, which we want you to do. Send us in your little short tale. We'll get it out there. But, yeah, this starts off with a story from Putty, and that chapter is kind of a marine aviation story that starts with a loss and turns into urgency and ends with a hard-earned strike back. And after a brutal attack on his squadron's brothers at Camp Bastion, the crew scrambled jets. Yeah. Dealt with combat chaos, and finally they put the bow on the deployment with a mission that felt deeply personal, exacting, and satisfying. So, yeah, that was heart-wrenching and satisfying to hear, right? And then
it was, actually, yeah.
And then into seeing two friends meeting Gallo for the first time. That was cool.
Well, first time in person, Gallo,
yeah.
And then Lawman, of course, and holy cow, that was great. We had them all. We had them all sitting at the same table with us.
That was cool. Yeah.
And seeing the man, the myth, the legend in person, that was also pretty cool.
Right. And an ejection story that went really well.
Yeah. And once again, it's a stark reminder of, the big differences sometimes between philosophy and naval aviation and the way the Air Force operates.
Absolutely. And you'll hear in this one why it just couldn't have gone any better for the pilot involved. If you're going to eject, this is the way it wanted to go.
Yeah. Yes, you do.
That's all I'll say about that.
Yeah.
And then, Candyman's thing is, it reminded me of a Frank Burns thing, someone who just takes themselves way too seriously.
Oh, Frank Burns from MASH, by the way. MASH.
Yeah. Look, kids, ask your parents.
Very, very, take themselves way too serious. That's really
important.
That's well said. Well said.
You're not taking this war seriously enough.
There's no fighting in the war room.
That's right. Oh, man. And a couple quick thank yous we need to get out there. I'll start with David O. Oddball. Met us at the sundown, and he's been a section lead with us for 2 months now. Oddball, I hope your wife doesn't know your wallet is opened up and coming in our direction, but thank you.
Or your financial advisor.
Right.
We really appreciate you. We're humbled by your generosity, but we're very concerned about your financial judgment. Let's just leave it at that.
Amen. And from a couple weeks back, if I missed you, let me know. And I think going forward, I'm sorry, I'm not going to try and name everybody who's given money and how much they've given ever again, because I'm just going to leave somebody out and I'll screw it up. So if you send us money and I don't thank you within the next couple weeks, by all means, please speak up and we will get that thank you out there. But trying to do the whole shooting match all over again, that's
quick burst of chaff. Get our attention. Right.
Exactly. Bang zoom. So
we got a message from Scott Nicholson. Who says, hey, let's call it mission commander instead of aircraft commander. I kind of like that. What do you think?
Yeah. Instead of tanker aircraft commander, yeah. Because he wasn't a tanker pilot. He wants to be a mission commander. He's a Harrier guy,
Yeah. But I'm really just catching up for lost time following the sundown. From a fellow Screaming Metal Dragon survivor with the Black Sheep, Bulldogs, and the Tigers. Thank you for our awesome service and the service you provide for all of us. And listen, Scott, it's our pleasure to do it.
We're humbled and honored. And being as he's now a mission commander, he has the right to request that. And I think that's a good request.
Right.
So we'll change it to mission commander.
I like that idea. Thanks, Scott.
Very cool. Yeah. Well, I think we get out of the way with, one other quick notice. So next week and in the coming weeks, I am going to be iffy on both internet service and location and timing and all that. We'll do our best to get you good, decent interview episodes, but that's one of the reasons we're asking for send us your short stories. Record it on an iPhone and shoot it to us in the email. Repeat, REPETE at sotherewas.us or fig at sotherewas.us. And we will get your short story on one of these episodes. We'd love to hear them. We know they're out there. We know you got
Yes.
it. Tell them.
Oh, they're everywhere.
Yeah. And
We
worst
we
case
just gotta get them
scenario,
recorded.
yeah, if we can't record one and we start running out of stories, and I think we've got a few more weeks of stories, but worst case scenario, I'm going to do a best of and rerun an old show, and I'll do my best not to do that for you folks, but every now and then technical difficulties will get in our way. I'm going to be on a boat for the next month.
He's got some logistics to work out, as we all do from time to time. Life takes over, so we'll do our best.
Yep.
That's all we can do.
Absolutely. Well, I guess in the meantime, give the folks some advice, Fig, and we will get out of here.
Don't sit on the ejection seat handle.
Don't do it. Prepare to launch.
This here is a true story about crossing the pond at night in the world's smallest cockpit on the tanker through the weather. Oh, and to the tanker crew who did that, thanks a lot. We really appreciated that. I'm just kidding. No, I'm not. Well, there I was, crossing the pond, and you could see that I wasn't exactly fond.
So there I was, September 14th, 2012. The 231, VMA 231, the squadron had just been put on port starboard leave. No, actually, we had just done, everybody had gone on leave because we got all the maintenance done. I was the maintenance officer, and it was awesome. We sent everybody to the winds, and then we were going to go to Camp Bastion in Afghanistan. September 14th, our brethren with 211 were attacked. In the news, all you heard about was that Prince Harry was okay, but the squadron commander, Otis Rabel, was killed. Our good friend, now Colonel Rob T. McDonald, ended up getting the Silver Star he's a former Force Recon enlisted Marine. He went up and got the maintenance Marines in a safe position, went and killed a bunch of the guys with his own weapon, and then called in. He was also a MARSOC forward air controller, called in airstrikes with our other buddy, Mog Marvel, who was a Cobra pilot, onto our flight line, or his flight line. And
Call the airstrike right on.
with the ODO radio. So there I was, the maintenance officer. I had maintenance Marines that landed in Alaska, and RCO Sean Hermley Junk said, "Get everybody back. We're going." So, I mean, these are pretty serious. This is a serious thing, and Otis, being killed, like, it was who we all knew and loved.
Shit got real fast.
It got real, and so, what we did is we immediately pushed our jets forward. Immediately, and there was a whole, got our jets over there. They were ready to go, so it was good. So within a couple days, we got the Air Force tankers lined up. We got them out there, and then we flew the remaining jets because they had two that had already made it to Qatar, and they turned around to Strut Havner, and I can't remember who the other one was, but they flew back. So they got all their jets, and then when we showed up on September 28th, and I flew one of the jets in, it was really surreal getting to the flight line. There were scar marks, in this, whatever the highest rating of concrete is, literally melted. I mean, that's how hot these jets were. What they did is those guys rolled grenades underneath these jets that were fully armed, fully loaded, tanks filled with fuel, everything. And a grenade literally is what each one of them took. So pretty sobering way to start the whole thing off. We did our RIP, relief in place with 211. And obviously we were angling for some revenge, which is, it's pretty hard in insurgency to get your revenge, right? And one of the things that we had heard was there was a terrorist training camp, and they had intel on this terrorist training camp, which, for those of you that remember, we went to Afghanistan because they were harboring Al-Qaeda, Osama bin Laden. That was the original reason that we went there. So there was some symmetry, and okay, we got this terrorist training camp. Well, months go by, and that kind of fades to the back. Like, okay, well, that would be nice to be able to do something like that. And so we're just doing our normal deployment. And I remember getting woken up early, told, hey, come into the squadron. Come in the squadron. Commanding general's in the ready room with the skipper. We get everybody together. So we're going for them. It's right on the Pakistani border. We're going to take all the tanks off the jets. We're going to load up 1,000-pound JDAMs, 8 jets, 4,000 pounders per. My Marine math is correct. That's 32,000 pounds of ordnance. Plus we had AC-130s, plus we had, Reapers, plus we had everything else. And our MOTS, our WTI was working on getting the JDAM. So literally it was going into the caves. We had the caves where they had weapons. There's always got to be monkey bars with terrorist training camps. I'm sure one of the targets was a monkey bars. But so we had all these targets lined up, and then it was all the jets are loaded. Marines are working, doing amazing work, and then it was stand down. So, okay. Because they thought they saw a kid. And then it was like 6 hours later, nope, we think that's a midget. I'm not kidding you, because I had a friend that, no, you can't make this up. So a little person, sorry. So okay, we're back on again. So we're back on. Well, all right, so we go and we fire the jets up. We get everything, everybody checks out. And then, hey, shut them back down. Okay. Shut them back down. Well, and I'm not going to name any names, but one of our pilots left the battery switch on. So we go in the ready room. We're on alert. Go, go, go. Well, guess what? I'm the Mo. One of the jets doesn't start. So it's like, all right, you go forward. I'll go to this jet. And it's, a little bit of a blow. And you're like, oh my goodness. Okay. Well, that's all right. That's my role. So Staff Sergeant Wilfong is that Marine that if you need something done, if there's a cannon plug that's been ripped off, Wilfong is going to figure out how to put it together. He's the one that when the NADEP Marines came over, when we were going on det and said, hey, this jet's really screwed up. We can't do that. And they were like, yeah, it can't be done. And Wilfong pulled out the schematics and was like, but if we did this, it would work, right? And the engineers were like, yeah, that'd work. He was that kind of guy.
Yeah.
He also was nicknamed Man Bear because he was the largest human, not in height, but just in stature. His hands were about, I don't know, were massive. Like just one of those huge Marines. Yeah, that catch. Just amazing. So I'm standing there hoping I've got enough juice, right? Because they've been trying to get this bird fixed. And I call him over and I look down from the airplane and I say, Man Bear, Staff Sergeant, could we jumpstart this thing with the Jenny? Well, technically, yes, sir, we could do that. He said, but you need maintenance officer approval to do it. I said, okay, well, I said, well, would the Marine doing it be okay? Because the hookup's behind the hot nozzles. He's like, yeah, he'd be okay. Is that you, Man Bear? Yes, sir. Okay. All right, approved. So, starts up the Jenny. Start it up. Now he's got to go in and unplug it, right?
Yeah.
So he goes in, unplugs it. He's all covered in, the flight suit and all that. And now I'm taxiing out as number 8. And I'll tell kind of the end of the story, so it goes smoothly. The airframes gunny, who I knew really well, watched the takeoffs, and he noticed that the number 8 barely cleared the fence on an 11,000-foot runway and another couple thousand feet out.
Kandahar?
Not out of Kandahar, a Bastion.
Oh, Bastion, sorry.
And then jumped into the sky. I was so focused on, getting that thing done, whatever. I had forgotten to put my flaps down. So I took off as heavy as you can be in CTOL or in the, my flaps up 5 degrees. My flaps up.
Yeah, cruise flaps.
Cruise flaps. There you go. So I took off and I'm looking and I'm like, the airplane's waffling. Nozzles are in. I'm seeing the fence and it's just like, what the hell? Like, I know I'm hit. And then said, and went down and hit him and then jumped into the sky. Nobody saw it except for Gunny. Except for Gunny when I got back and was asking about that. So I catch up. We get in formation. We go in. We drop all of our ordnance. I look over my shoulder and the entire valley is just rising with this dust. And we come back and we put in the tape for the Marines to watch. I don't know if anybody's seen Team America. It's a silly movie. And I don't remember doing this, but all you hear is beep, 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 beep. You know, it's 32 beeps going off. And then America, fuck yeah. I said, I didn't even know I said that, but it was on the tape. And then the Marines, you know, are like, they're just going nuts. And I was like, wow, all right, that was something. So then it's like, okay, well, all right, we did that. Let's get the jets ready. We got it back to work tomorrow. And then the call came down, hit them again. And we went back out, did it again. Everything worked. I used the flaps correctly. But they had a bunch more secondary targets. And the level of satisfaction after everything that had happened with 211, you know, everything with Otis, Rob T, everything that had happened, to be able to put the cap on the deployment for the thing we went to Afghanistan for, you know, I say is probably the, you know, best moment of having that opportunity to serve career.
Outstanding. Okay, and just for the listeners that aren't Harrier pilots and aren't aviators, the beep that you're talking about, what is that? What is that? You heard beep, beep,
yeah, that's the pickle sound when you release a bomb. So it is, as long as in close air support,
Beep, cleared hot.
right. Then your tape didn't run. So there I was, sir.
Thank you for your
Thanks
service.
for the opportunity.
Well done, my friend.
Thanks.
Well done. Thank you.
Oh, boy, is this great!
5-minute break. 5-minute break. Fuck yeah. America. Fuck yeah.
Stupid risks are what make life worth living.
So there I was, finishing up the ready room in my basement. And I hit that point where normal hardware store stuff just wasn't going to cut it anymore. You know the feeling. You've got this vision in your head, but you can't find it anywhere because nobody actually makes exactly what you want. That's where DC Artworks comes in. Our sponsor is Derek. He owns DCArtworks.net. He's a veteran. He's an American, and he makes amazing art. And this isn't just some guy pushing mass-produced junk with a logo slapped on it. Derek takes your half-baked aviation idea and turns it into something that looks like it actually belongs in the ready room. Everything starts with CNC cut hardened steel, precision cut by computer for clean lines and serious durability. And then every single piece is hand finished by Derek or his team. No flimsy metal, no two pieces are identical either. And here's the number that stopped me cold. 95% of what DC Artworks produces is completely custom. Case in point, I'm finishing up my ready room style bar in my basement. I told Derek what I had in mind and commissioned him to make some custom Harrier-shaped cabinet door and drawer pulls. That stuff doesn't exist on a shelf anywhere. It was my idea, and it's his execution. That's right. Right there is the magic. Go to DCArtworks.net, browse the design library, which updates constantly, and then stop thinking like a customer and start thinking like a creator. Squadron logos, call signs, aviation art, business signs, personal gifts, bar setups, ready room decor. Whatever weird thing your brain comes up with, Derek can probably build it. And if you're shopping for gifts, he does beer glasses and whiskey glasses, all engraved with a squadron patch, your call sign. Honestly, maybe the most dangerous thing you can show a group of pilots after 2 bourbons, because every single one of them is going to want a set. He's also got airplane-shaped bottle openers, Harrier C-130s, you name it. Heavy duty, ridiculously cool, and the exact kind of thing your buddies immediately ask you where you got it. DC Artworks specializes in metal art and fabrication, powder coating, and multi-material engraving. Derek is also a military GPC vendor, offers bulk and repeat discounts, and is one of the lowest priced vendors in the business for this level of custom work. Here's your mission. Go to DCArtworks.net, use the code STIW, and get 20% off every order, every time, forever, even if another sale is already running. Then reach out to Derek and tell him, So there I was, and I've got this idea. Thanks to DCRorgs.net for sponsoring this episode.
Yep. I said it before and I'll say it again. Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.
So there I was with Gallo. All right, so VMA 331, when Lieutenant Colonel Anderson Gallo was the commanding officer, we took the squadron to Yuma, Arizona for air-to-ground weapons training, the whole squadron. And one of the sorties I remember very well was with Gallo was leading a division with another guy named Mad Dog as his wingman. Gallo was leading it. I'm Dash 3. I think it might have been Oscar or somebody's Dash 4. Zuni rockets out of Yuma, rocket pods into the Barium Goldwater Air Force ranges, pop-up attack, shoot the Zunis, which are a lot of fun, and egress them back out at 200 foot above the ground at 420 knots. Standard, battle box egress, hugging the deck. And Mad Dog, who's a good guy, but he screams in the radio like a high, shrill pitched scream. Knock it off! Knock it off! Mad Dog's got an aft bay light. And nobody else moved. Aft bay light is like a little minor caution light, like really nothing. He reset the light, no big. Yeah, no big deal. But he zoom climbs it, knocks it off. I watched Gallo thinking, well, if Gallo doesn't move, I'm not knocking it off. He's the skipper, he's the division lead. And Gallo keyed the mic, never moved his jet, keyed the mic and said, "Don't eject, Mad Dog." I thought that was a great line.
Well played, General.
Yeah, anyway.
Well played.
That was a Gallo story. No.
Fantastic. Thank you.
There's one occasion that I did say eject, and that's Oscar. I tried to get Oscar over here. We were at Nellis flying a red flag, and I was giving Oscar his section lead check, and Oscar is flying along and I was on his wing, and all of a sudden, number 3 bearing failure, which was a problem with the Harriers at that time. But at any rate, all I saw behind his head was flames. The entire airplane was engulfed in flames. And I said, "Oscar, you're on fire. Get out, eject now." And so Oscar jumped out later on, he told me, and Oscar's about a half mile over on that rooftop. Tried to get him over here. When I go back, I'll have him tell his side of the story.
All right.
But at any rate, Oscar did get out. I stayed there probably too long because I was flying high cap on watch his shoot, make sure the helicopters were coming in. And then what happened was I was short on gas. So there's a box at Nellis that you can't fly through.
The box.
It doesn't matter who you are, you're asked to leave.
Right.
And it's super secret stuff. And so at any rate, I was out of gas. So I my generator failed, as luck would have it. And
Of course.
And so I was
stuck with it.
I was pretty sure that they couldn't track me. And my generator, after I circumvented that box, it came back on.
Oh, nice.
So that's
It's a miracle.
It's luck to have it. Yeah, it was a miracle. And so anyway, so later on there was some questions about that, but I successfully evaded the questions.
Let me add to that if I could, please, because I was there. That was red flag 331. I was in the auditorium watching this on the large screen TVs.
Yeah.
And the Harriers we tracked green. All the Harriers were tracking green. So we saw them attack their target. We saw them come back out. Heard the radio calls, the ejection. Oscar's jets in the dirt. He ejects. And Gallo, we're watching it. His tack spot, you can see him track right through the corner of the box and go, "Oh, pack your shit. We're going home." The skipper just flew through the box. We just lost a jet. And previous to that, the XO, Dickie Joe White, had bombed North Las Vegas. Remember that?
Yeah,
he had a hung bomb.
That was bad form.
It was, he came back in, flew the Air Force course rules. They said, fly the hung ordnance course rules. And he said, "I don't want to because it's going to take me over a populated area." Said negative.
My XO does that.
Yeah. So when he got slow and configured the jet, a BDU 48, a 10-pound bomb came off and landed in a street with kids playing in it, and a little small discharge. The next day, the paper said, "Marines bomb North Las Vegas." and then Oscar ejects, puts the jet in the dirt, the skipper flies through the box. We're all packing our shit. We're all going home.
Oh, yeah.
You know, we're going.
You're all going to
And
jail.
when Gallo landed, he didn't tell you this part. Lieutenant Colonel Anderson, he had generals and colonels waiting for him, and they whisked him off into a room. We're thinking, we're done. Pack your shit. We're going home. He came out a hero. They're patting him on the back. He's a hero.
Beautiful.
He convinced them about the generator failure. Now, they didn't know because they're Air Force. Nobody flew Harriers then. That if you lose your generator, you can't get power to that station with the tack spot on it.
Right.
And they never. He was a good job at, he did a good job with that. We stayed at Red Flag. And Oscar, when he jumped out, you got to get him over here. Maybe you're lucky. They told us if you ejected those North Ranges, it would take an hour and 20 minutes for the SAR helicopters to fly from Nellis to pick you up. Oscar's on the ground maybe 10 or 15 minutes. Just a local rancher, whose BLM land, tooled it up to him in a pickup truck and said, I seen the whole thing. I seen your afterburner come on. He goes, hey, remember that, because the area doesn't have an afterburner. So he had a ground witness. He was on fire. And he said within minutes, a helicopter came out of nowhere, like a Black Hawk, with guys like in SWAT gear, put a hood over his head. Well, actually, when he first jumped out, there was a rancher in coveralls and a cowboy hat and a Harrier pilot standing in flag gear, and they go, which one to use to pilot? Oscar points to the rancher. He goes, come on, that guy. Who do you think it is? Well, they flew him somewhere, and probably, we think, the container, the Air Force called. They couldn't call it the box.
Right.
But the box or the container.
Yeah.
Interviewed him. He had to sign a statement. He hadn't seen anything. They flew him back into Vegas. And here's where I got jealous, because here's a cool story about the Marine Corps versus Air Force culture. He lost all his flight gear because of the ejection, right? So they took all his flight gear as part of the investigation. It was obviously an engine failure. The commanding officer says you're on fire, eject. That's the best call you can ever get as a pilot. Right. The commanding officer says you're on fire, eject. That's the best call you ever get.
It's a done deal.
Yeah.
And so 2 days later, maybe 2 days, Oscar's back on the flight schedule. And the Air Force guys couldn't believe it. They go, well, that's your mishap, pilot. Well, the commanding officer says he's good to fly. I believe him. I know what happened. It's not his fault.
Yeah.
He's going to go fly. Air Force had a cow about that.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure they did.
But Oscar he was the first Marine pilot to get the brand new lightweight Air Force helmet.
Okay.
The really light, really nice,
those
speedy.
were great helmets.
It's great, very comfortable, lightweight. And I said, I want to be the next guy to eject. And now this Air Force says, I want one of those helmets. We were lining up, but that was Oscar and Gallo.
Great story.
Fantastic. All right.
Great story.
That was fantastic.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank
Thank you so much.
Appreciate you. All right.
Good to see you.
General?
Gentlemen, you can't fight in here. This is the war room.
So there I was, Afghanistan 2013, getting pulled over for rolling through a stop sign. Well, we were going from the flight line to the Tactical Operations Center we had to do an air assault meeting with the MARSOC guys for do an air assault in a few days. Well, while we were in transit from the flight line to the TOC, we were essentially out of radio contact. They couldn't get a hold of us. So if something went sideways, they couldn't get a hold of us to launch us. So we obviously didn't want to dilly-dally a whole lot while we were in transit. So what they had recently done was brought a platoon of MPs to the FOB specifically to do traffic control in a combat zone. Well, the guy I was riding with, he was driving. He was the guy that I was flying with as well. He was the other pilot in our crew. Well, he cruised through the stop sign. I mean, we did like the California stop, you're rolling, whatever, make you right. Well, we did that and we heard whoop, whoop, the blue lights and the whole 9 yards, and they pulled us over and sat in the car for 10 or 15 minutes while contemplating, I guess, writing a ticket. I don't know. So they come up finally and they're asking, do you know why we pulled you over? And we're like, I don't know, man, but like, we really got to get where we're going. Like, can you make this quick? Well, so the guy does the whole, sir, I have the authority to blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I know, man. Like, I don't doubt you have the authority. The problem is that we've got like war stuff we've got to go do. And the longer you keep us here, the harder it is to do these things. So he says, well, what do you got to do? And I was like, well, I can't tell you that because it's classified. And of course it was. Everything we did was classified. But anyway, he didn't like that. So he went back to his car and spent another 20 to 30 minutes writing the ticket. So he brings it back up to us. Oh, and I forgot to mention, at one point, my buddy got out of the car because they were taking so long. It was like a pickup truck or something. and was like, "Hey, we need to move." And they literally almost pulled their guns on us to get us to get back in the car, like we were like on the street anywhere in America. Well, so they finally came back up, gave us the ticket. We went on and we made it to our teleconference with just seconds to spare. They were starting as we walked in the door. Well, fast forward to the next day, the National Guard second lieutenant commander of the MPs comes over to our area to talk to the task force commander because apparently we were mean to his specialist. Well, luckily enough, our battalion S3 was a wonderful guy, just happened to be cruising by, and there's a second Louis sitting at the gate trying to get in, can't get in because of course it's locked and not anybody can get in there. Well, he stops and asks him what's going on, and the kid, tells him the story. He's like, "I need to talk to your task force commander right now. Some of your pilots were rude to my specialists while they were giving the traffic ticket." So the good major takes he gets the traffic ticket from him. He looks at it, he reads it, and he said, "This is for rolling through a stop sign?" And he's like, "Yeah." And so he looks at him, tears the ticket up, drops it on the ground, and walks off. And thus ends the story of the time we got a traffic ticket in Western Afghanistan.
Well, there I was, crossing the pond, and you could see that I wasn't exactly fond of all the shit I was wearing on that day. Now an F-16 is cramped enough, but it's even worse with all that stuff supposed to save your life. But we knew there was no way. 'Cause when you're going down the North Atlantic, man, it's over.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.